So we're seeing Tesla stock trend downwards. However, in this video, I want to go ahead and break down why I'm still super bullish on Tesla, and also just cover some key levels that we should absolutely pay attention to. See, in my last video, I talked about the Q1 delivery numbers for 2023 on Tesla, and I talked about how these numbers are actually really good numbers. However, a lot of investors seem to disagree and have concerns on this. Right now, in this video, I want to go ahead and debunk this, but also, just parse through some other data points that we should absolutely pay attention to. So just starting off with the Q1 numbers, we saw that Tesla, produced about 440,000 vehicles, but delivered 422,000 vehicles. Right now, me personally, I think production numbers should absolutely be slightly higher than delivery numbers. In fact, this is the first time we've had this for quarter one of Tesla, right? Because in the past, it's always been Tesla delivering more vehicles than they can produce, right? So now when we have the reverse, now the main concern is, well, is demand waning, right? Now I want to go ahead and break down why this is absolutely not a real concern. Now, first off, when you actually look at the delta between production numbers and delivery numbers, and you actually turn it into a percent, it's really only like a difference of 4%. So just 4% more vehicles were produced than delivered. Right now, oh wow, Whippy, that's a terrible number. Right now, also pay attention to this. We have to really look into what type of economy we're currently in. Right now, this is really vital, because if you're not paying attention to that, well, then you're just gonna miss the boat on Tesla. Right now, let me go ahead and break this down. Now, when you take a look at interest rates on a 60-month loan for a new vehicle, we see that obviously interest rates have been much more higher than they have since last year and the year before, right? Because obviously we had the Federal Reserve hiking interest rates, right? Hiking the federal fund rate because of inflation. So we're in this environment where interest rates are higher, way higher than they were last year, yet we still have year over year more deliveries than we've had previously. So if you really think about it, we have individuals still buying more Tesla vehicles than they did last year, even in unfavorable market conditions. So what does that mean for Tesla when we have favorable market conditions? I mean, right now things are not good. I mean, didn't we just have a few bank runs just happen just a couple of weeks ago? Now, of course, the things that have happened with Silicon Valley Bank and a few other banks, a couple other banks, right? Obviously, it's a very unique situation, but it's all related to a bad economy with interest rates being much more higher, right? Now, I could get deeper into why those banks failed, but that's just not the subject of the concern for this video, right? Obviously, what I'm trying to depict here is that we're not in favorable market conditions, yet Tesla is actually still performing. Now, if you take a look into the consumer sentiment, you see that we're at levels basically where we were at back in 2009 and 2010, right? Back at the great financial crisis. I mean, even though it has the word great on front of it, we all know that the financial crisis was not great at all. In fact, all the times when we hear Great Depression, Great Recession, it's never great, right? It's actually the worst, right? And we're having consumers feel the same way that they did previously. So obviously, if Tesla's still selling vehicles with, the consumer sentiment at these low levels, well, how's Tesla going to perform when we actually have a good economy and we actually do have consumers feeling a lot more optimistic about the economy? Well, I think that depicts a whole different story. Now, I want to share with you guys this chart just showing you guys how Tesla has done with deliveries since 2016. And you guys are going to see a trend over here where we see 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, where Q1, we just have Tesla actually growing. Now, obviously, I drew my little squiggly blue box over here representing for, quarter one of 2023, because obviously this is an older chart, and this is roughly where, the numbers for Q1 2023 would be. But the point I'm trying to say is that if you just extrapolate the current or the previous trends, right, and look at what's going to happen for Tesla going forward, well, it's honestly just a growth story. It's still continuously growing. And so one of the things I talk about when we look into, companies is the main thing you want to pay attention to is the fundamentals, right? Because this is why investors pour money into a company, right? To yield a return, right? If you want to buy a business, right? You want to buy an ice cream truck, you want to make sure that the truck is selling ice cream, right? You don't want to just buy into a company that isn't yielding a return. They aren't growing, right? And so what we're seeing with Tesla is a consistent growth story. And I believe that once the economy changes, which I want to talk about that later on in this video, that it's actually going to become a lot easier for Tesla. Now, taking a technical approach on Tesla, something I've said time and time again is that we're in an area where there's a lot of volume by price, meaning there's a lot of exchanging going on between buyers and sellers. And so what I've said in previous videos is that, we're probably going to see Tesla move sideways or slightly downwards, because until we break above this area, I can't see Tesla really moving upwards. Now, long term, I'm bullish on Tesla, right? Because fundamentally, things make sense. However, if we look at the short term, there's some catalyst events that could push Tesla above this level. One of the catalyst events could be earnings, right? Now, we have earnings coming right around the corner. In my last video, I said earnings is probably going to be, between April 20th to April 25th, but I said most likely, knowing Elon and Elon Musk fashion, is going to be on 420 because Elon, right? And actually is going to be on 420, which is kind of funny. I always find that hilarious that Elon has that sense of humor. But this is exactly something that could push Tesla above this area of, a lot of volume by price, right? Now, also, we know that Cybertrucks are coming out later on in this year. And then also, Elon Musk mentioned in the previous earnings call last year that he is planning to do a buyback of Tesla. So that's why I'm very bullish on Tesla, long term, and also, in the short term, I'm not trading Tesla. Now, for those of you guys that are new to the channel, I have exposure to Tesla in my long-term portfolio, which is why I'm bullish long term. But also, I trade Tesla in the short term. So when Tesla goes down, I short it. When Tesla goes up, I trade it upwards. Right now, my trading account, I'm not really trading Tesla because there's no crazy moves happening. However, in my long-term account, I'm still adding more shares into Tesla. Now, I want to go ahead and go over some macroeconomic data points that just came out that could be honestly very bullish for Tesla and the overall market. However, before we parse through that data, just a quick reminder to gently tap that subscribe button right over here if you're not subscribed to the channel. And if you are already subscribed to the channel, I don't know, maybe support by hitting the like button. But with that being said, I want to go ahead and just go through this data. So we see that job openings are actually declining. Now, this is, obviously kind of bad, because obviously I want people to have opportunities to find other jobs. However, I'm trying to look through the lens of the Federal Reserve, specifically Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve, because we know that last time when he testified again in front of Congress, they basically told us that they want unemployment to rise. Why do they want unemployment to rise? Well, obviously, when there's too many people in the economy that have jobs, they have steady paychecks coming in, and that means that they could continue spending, and that's why service inflation is very sticky. So in order to really combat inflation, they need unemployment to go down. So this is a good sign, for the Fed, right? For Jerome Powell to see job openings actually tick downwards, because this means that in the next Fed meeting where they make the next decision, we may see 25 basis points getting hiked, but after that, most likely we're probably going to pause, and then after we pause, well, that's when we start cutting. And so that's when the market's going to be very bullish once that starts happening. Right now, obviously this is good for the overall markets, but again, I do want to emphasize that this is bad for the everyday person. But I also want to go over something else. So we also have quit rate versus layoff and discharge rate, and what we're seeing is that the rate at which people quit their jobs is actually decreasing. Right now, this is actually good, because previously when there was just abundance of jobs around, right, people would just quit their jobs and just find another job in the next day. Now again, this is good for the average person. I want people to be able to walk out the job that they hate and be able to find opportunity literally across the street. But keep in mind, this is bad. So now seeing that people are less likely to quit because, hey, things are not looking good, well, that may signal more data for Jerome Powell to really be like, okay, well, maybe we may hike again, and then we start pausing because, okay, now the data's starting to show. But you guys let me know in the comment section below, what are your thoughts on Tesla stock, both in the long term or in the short term, and what are some other catalyst events that maybe I missed that could significantly, impact the price for Tesla? So you guys let me know in the comment section below. But with that being said, make sure to watch this next video right over here. And if you already saw that video, then I encourage you guys to watch this next video right over here, because